Lightning Strike broken, Poison strong, Pathfinder forgotten. Let's add these three together and you're getting a pretty strong build. Signal target is amazing, clear is insane, Tonkiness is there. What's up guys? Pidget here. Our skill choice is Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike is a melee skill that converts half of your physical damage to lightning damage. It has a secondary effect as well. It will launch projectiles each time hit you with a melee weapon. Both melee and projectile attack can hit the same target if you position yourself a little bit far away from your target. This way, you can get double projectile hit and melee hit at the same time. Adding to the mix Poison, reaching 100% poison chance in a unique way. There is a node on the tree or their stat that says critical strike with dangers poison the enemy. We will reach crit cap, so our poison chance is 100%. This league, Perfect Agony got buffed, so we can take that as well to increase our damage. The weapon type is also important, because Lightning Strike has lightning damage, so it would be not too wise to let it waste. We were using the good old pneumatic danger base from Heist, so elemental damage can poison. We will stack frenzy charges. In terms of numbers, we have 8 frenzy charges, also using replica Badge of Brotherhood, so our endurance charges will be equal to our maximum frenzy charges. We will use Radakash Impatience boots to make without any problem, but we not stop here, adding a never used unique bat, so for the first time I will use Olisia's Delight unique bat. The frenzy charge will grant affliction charges, that will grant us more damage with elements. Because of the Radakash Impatience boots, we will get the attack speed and more damage from the frenzy charges, while we also can benefit from the affliction charges. We just need to find a way to generate them. This is where the new underrated Deadeye Ascendancy notable come in, Avidity. This will gives us frenzy charge, also we will generate them by moving around. Yes, we will just run around and you will get charges, in this case affliction charges, because of the bat. We need to borrow this with Forbidden Flame and Flash Javel, which was pretty cheap before the video. Now we have damage, we need Tonkiness. On the defensive side, we will raise our maximum resistance to 86. This will give us huge elemental damage reduction. Also, don't forget, we have 8 endurance charges, so that's 32% less damage taken from physical damage and elemental damage. Speaking about physical damage, 34k armor, which is pretty high if we're talking about the right side of the tree. We're using iron reflexes to convert our evasion rating to armor. We reach 90% physical damage reduction. Recovery is insane, because we can use the Master Surgeon node, so we will getting more than 2k life recovery. Pathfinder is my favorite ascendancy. I'm so glad I was able to make this build work, because they was nerfing Pathfinder in the last 3 league directly or indirectly. I can feel the nerf definitely. Not that strong before. Even on Uber Heroes fight we need to self-cast Molten Shell, and on Shaper fight we need to avoid at least one Shaper ball, otherwise it's over. Also, it's not helping, we need to use 5 unique items, so our base life is pretty low if you compare to my other builds. At least the damage is amazing. Lightning Strike is just broken. Clear is insanely good. Full screen coverage, poison prolife, so if you just want to mindlessly clear maps while not dying, it's pretty decent choice. Let's take a look on the items. We're using a pneumatic danger, all damage from hits with this weapon can poison. So the way I was making danger, I was just using fire damage essence till I hit tier 1 lightning damage or tier 1 cold damage. And I was lucky to hit attack speed as well, and then I just finished up with the crafted modifiers. Okay, we're using a shield. The shield is a pretty important piece. Last 2 to all maximum resistances. I was able to purchase this one for like 40k as the base, and then just started spamming life essence as you can see here, and I was able to hit the tier 1 suppression. And I was able to craft as well a little lightning damage and fire damage as a prefix. So this is a pretty important piece, but if you can get suppression else on your gear, then you don't need tier 1 at all. I just was getting lucky. And the maximum resistance is pretty important, because you can clearly see here we can reach 78% chaos resistance as well. That's pretty decent if you want to be a little bit more tonky. Okay, the next piece is the gloves. So I was purchasing it, Fractured Life, and I was just reforging Chaos till I hit attack speed. And I was able to craft increased damage during effect, this is a prefix, and also you need suppression chance as an implicit on this one. Non-while strikes kills target one additional enemy, so that's also pretty important. Double dip your DPS when you hitting the target. And the helmet is a pretty huge helmet. So we have tier 1 fractured life, tier 1 suppression, and I was able to get tier 1 evasion rating roll as well. So we getting 1.5k evasion rating. This transitioning to 1.5k or more because of the iron reflexes. So this pretty huge helmet. And we need mana reservation efficiency and reduce mana cost of attacks to finish up this bad boy. And the ring, so this ring will give us pretty huge chaos resistance, as you can clearly see. 63% chaos resistance alone from this ring, and I was needed the strength. I crafted strength on this one, and then that's it. So yeah, the other gears is the unique items. So let's start with my favorite lightning coil. This is not really special. It +1 to all maximum resistance. So that's it. This was pretty cheap because I was 6-link it by myself, so that was pretty cheap. The next one is, Anathema, because we using 4 curses in the build. You will see in a second what curses we using. Obviously, your curse limit is equal to your maximum power charges, so that's my signature item. So yeah. The next one is, I never ever used Replica Badge of Brotherhood. Your maximum endurance charge is equal to your maximum frenzy charges. And this is the important part of this amulet. The other is we not care about it at all. And also, we are anointing Disciple of Unyielding. The reason for this, because we have 8 endurance charges, so this will give us 46% increased damage. By the way, our build doesn't have too much increase, so this is pretty huge damage multiplier if we're talking about just alignment. And we're using Odessia's Delight Bed. This will give us the affliction charges. Affliction charges is 8% more damage with ailments. The other part is not interesting for us, and that's it. And also it gives us 1 maximum frenzy charges, so we were getting in 1 more endurance charge as well. So this is pretty straightforward, and we using a corruption on this one. 40% increased critical strike chance during any flask effect, so this will help us to get 100% critical chance, which is pretty important. Others touch from the tree. The last one, Radakesh Impatient Boots. So you will count as having all of your charges. So basically, don't need to worry. We have 8 endurance charges, 8 frenzy charges, and 4 power charges. So this boots is just pretty straightforward and pretty cheap, surprisingly this league again. So why we not using it? And let's talk about a little bit about the flasks. So guys, there is a little clunkiness in the build, and this is where the flasks coming in. So on Uber Shaper fight, I need to switch out the Ruby Flask to Sapphire Flask because it has the same modifiers, right? But on Uber Shaper, the cold damage is pretty dominant, so we need to reach increase maximum cold resistance to 86, so we can able to tank even more things in the fight, right? And any other cases are using the Ruby Flask. It's important to get both modifiers, so it doesn't matter what modifier you're getting on this one as a suffix, but you need to get the same. So this is the clunkiness in the build a little bit, and don't worry, that's the only clunkiness in the build. So there is nothing else. The other ones, we have evasion rating during effect, and obviously we need to use increased effect and reduce duration on every single flask. With this one, you will have 100% uptime and you will getting more effect. And also we need to get 50%, at least 50% chance to avoid being shanked during effect, because we're using the Storm Shroud unique Javel. This is how we're getting elemental avoidance, as you can see here. And the other one is additional elemental resistance on the Bismuth Flask, and we are using a Diamond Flask. Why fighting on these bosses. And also it's important to get increased critical strike chance during effect, but while you mapping, you will switch out the diamond flask to a quicksilver flask with, it doesn't matter really, just the increased critical strike chance during effect is that is the important one. Divine Life flask setup, I using a 28% quality flask and increased amount recovery and reduced recovery rate as well. This is tier 2. Honestly, I was having enough from the flask rolling, so I was saying this is enough, so I not really care about extra like 100 extra life recovery from the flask. So this is what is it. Okay, and so we were using Soul of Lunaris on Uber Shaper. And why is that? Because 6% reduce elemental damage taken if you have been recently. This is pretty important because, you know, Shaper has pretty high penetration and we are getting hit pretty often. So Soul of Solaris would be not that good. So this will be a pretty good defensive choice, and also we upgrading it, so 10% chance to avoid projectiles. Shaper balls is projectiles, and we have elusive as well, so we have like almost 40%, almost 50% chance to avoid a projectile when the elusive effect is around 100%. So that's pretty important. And any other boss fights are using Soul of Solaris, so we were taking less damage, and obviously we were getting more physical damage reduction, so this is why I'm using that. And honestly, I was using Soul of Lysrata most of the time because we were getting 60% increased life recovery from our flask if we using a low life when we have less than 50% life. So that is giving us, for example, almost 3.5k life recovery from the flask, so it will immediately top up us, so that will be not really noticeable if you standing on some bad thing. And honestly, that's it about the Pantheons. And the passive tree looks like this. We using a few unique jewels. So let's start from the top. We using a brutal wrestling timeless jewel, give us poison damage here, and even more poison damage here. So this is 60% increased poison damage, and also giving us dexterity because we can as you can see, we transforming many notables, increased life recovery from flasks, and we need 4 flask effect duration tattoo, guys. This is pretty important, otherwise you will not get 100% uptime on your flasks. So that's pretty important, don't forget this one, and fill up the rest, life recovery from flasks. But also keep in mind, if you transforming your dexterity, you will losing accuracy rating, because this build is barely getting accuracy rating capped. Okay, and it's important. Okay, guys, it's pretty important to get accuracy capped, because otherwise you will sometimes missing. So yeah, and the next one is we using here the Light of the Miming Javel. Passive skills in radius also got 7% increased armor. This gives us like 11k armor alone here. So this is the most dense part of the tree. So we using here, and that's it. And also we using, as I mentioned, Storm Shroud modifies the chance to avoid being shocked, apply to all elemental elements. So that's elemental elements immunity, pretty straightforward. And we using, as I said, Forbidden Flame and Flesh setup. This is how we generating frenzy charges. So avidity will give you +1 maximum charges, and also more accuracy rating per frenzy charges. And also while you moving, you can generate frenzy charges as well. So we're using here, and I think the unique jewels is that's it. And we're using obviously one single rare jewel with corrupted blood immunity, and it has maximum life and fire and lightning resistance, because I was needed a little bit overcapped, when I switching the flasks like that. So we can see we can still have capped, so that's a little annoyingness in the build. And obviously we're using Pathfinder, as you know, and I think this is a pretty standard Pathfinder, poison Pathfinder setup. So Master Toxis is, poison prolife, nature reprisal. It will give you Wither on hit and increased effect Wither, and obviously flash charge gain here, and Master Surgeon for our life flask will be active every time we just pressing C. And by the way, a little interesting fact, if you just spamming 1, you will have 100% uptime on your life flask without any issues. So if you just unsure in your playing capabilities or something, you can just spam literally the life flask, and you will never ever run out charges. So this is how I designed the build. And let's head back. Gems. So we're using lightning strike, obviously, multi-strike, return projectile, and night blade, awakened unbound elements, awakened added chaos damage support. In our gloves or curse setup, Arcanist brand, enfeeble, despair, and temporal chain. In our boots, mark on hit, flame dash, life tap, and assassin's mark. In our helmet or aura setup, enlighten, malevolence, arctic armor, and grace. In our weapon, molten shell, cast when damage taken. But don't forget, when you're fighting Agnist Uber Cirrus, you need to unsocket the cast when damage taken and self-cast the molten shell when the meteor is coming in. So you will 100% every time will tank it, okay? Otherwise you will die, guys. Sadly, the build has low life, as you can see, 4k life. That's not too much, so we need cheese a little bit. I'm sorry about this, but hey, this is how I was able to make it work. And Whirling Blades, this is our movement skill, which is, by the way, pretty fast if you paying a little attention. So that's pretty fast, I would say. So feeling pretty good. And our shield, precision, and enlighten level 3. I hope you enjoyed this video about Poison Lightning Strike Pathfinder. If you have any question, please leave a comment below, or you can find me on twitch.tv/Pridget2. Also, I would like to say thank you for my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching. I was Pridget. See you next time.